Okay, so good day everyone. Now we're going to proceed on our topic, small animal emergency and critical care medicine. So in a small animal practice, hindi talaga mawawala yung emergency cases, whether you are small animal pet practitioner na small time yung pet clinic or malaki yung veterinary hospital mo. Anywhere, everywhere, makaka-experience ka talaga ng mga emergency cases. So this topic would be a best vibe para sa inyo. At least meron kayong overview as future veterinarians kung paano mag-deal ng mga common cases about small animal emergencies. So, yung objective natin sa topic na ito is to discuss the different emergency and critical care conditions in dogs and cats, including their etiology, epidemiology, and clinical manifestations. Also to analyze the differential diagnosis, diagnostic procedures, and prognosis of various emergency and critical care conditions in dogs and cats, and to formulate treatment and preventive procedures for different emergency and critical care conditions in dogs and cats. So, emergency and critical care medicine involves the immediate assessment, stabilization, and treatment of critically ill or injured small animals. So, prompt recognition and intervention are essential for improving survival rates and patient outcomes. So, sa ganitong scenario, dapat mabilisang action ang needed. It's because na if in case you are presented with a certain case tapos hindi mo alam yung gagawin, there might be a tendency that the animal may die on the table. But please take note that every emergency cases, one thing that or one main goal mo na tatahakin or i-achieve is to stabilize the patient. Even though that the case is familiar to you, but however, treating the animal for that specific disease might not help relieve the immediate concern during emergency cases. Mas better medyo iset aside mo yan and then focus ka muna sa pag-stabilize ng patient. So for example, the dog has what do you call this? Hypovolemic shock secondary to hookworm infection. We all know that hookworms requires deworming, right? 'Di ba tama? So, alam natin na basta may hookworms, deworming yung treatment. However, since the dog is having a hypovolemic shock, you need to cater first the hypovolemic shock, stabilize the patient before ka muna magbigay ng naaayon na medicine, naaayon na dewormer or na gamot para sa aso. Okay. So, diagnosis, treatment, and management for this type of emergency cases, number one, is to initial assessment via primary survey. So, yung common actually is ABC. Pero actually as times goes by, we need to although to extend up to the letter E. So that is why it was termed as ABCDE. So, first mong i-assess is the airway. Make sure that the animal is still breathing. Uh, let's say walang blockage ng airway. Next is breathing. To assess the respiratory rate and effort. Kamusta ba? Normal pa ba? Nagre-respire pa ba? Or anong tawag dito? In hypercapnia ba? Or, no, not hypercapnia, but hyperpnia? Mabilisan ba yung paghinga niya? Or apnea? Hindi na humihinga? So, yun. Assess mo yung breathing. Next is circulation. So, evaluate the heart rate, the pulse, the blood pressure, and sometimes you can also assess that using the CRT or the capillary refill time that it should be less than 2 seconds. Kasi pag more than na, it can be a sign of dehydration which might an associative or an association sa kung anong concern ng emergency case na binigay sa iyo. And then disability, so check for neurological status kung is there any nervous signs na happening sa dog. So for example, mga seizures. And then exposure, control body temperature, and address injuries. So, of course, maybe present ka ng heat stroke, so mas better na stabilize mo yung temperature. And if in case there is an injury, for example, an open wound bleeding, then better stop the bleeding first before dealing with other associated na mga reasons. Okay, so for the diagnostic, tool, we have a point of care testing. So we have CBC, chemistry panel, blood gas analysis. But of course, during emergency cases, less likely mo yan gagawin kasi stabilize first. Pero after na ma-stabilize ang animal, perform na agad ng ganitong mga test. Or kung, let's say, there is already an existing data from other clinics or from other previous history ng aso mo, then pwede mong gamitin yun as basis. Next is imaging. Of course, sometimes you can do ultrasonography during emergency cases. Baka may makita kang something na yun pala yung cause ng problem. And then, of course, for radiograph CT scan, medyo matagal-tagal ito. So, less likely, maybe after na. And then, ECG, of course, naka-attach naman ito sa animal itself, especially if the veterinary hospital you are working with or you own with is having an ECG or a very sophisticated na ECG setup. So, naka-attach na yan sa aso or sa pusa mo. So, once maka-detect siya ng emergency problem, then magre-reflect na talaga niyan kung ano makikita mo sa monitor. And then, blood pressure monitoring. Of course, kailangan talaga baka sige ka lang ng pump dyan during CPR pero high blood pala yung aso, then most likely that would be a potential problem. Na hindi naman dapat sana i-CPR kaso sa CPR mo namatay dahil hindi sa kanyang disease but dahil sa kamalian na pag-assess ng blood pressure. Okay. So, other than that, we have a critical care management. So, number one here is oxygen therapy, especially during respiratory distress, heart failure, or shock. So, part ng isang veterinary hospital should have at least an oxygen tank para magamit during cases like this. Fluids and electrolytes, dapat as skillful veterinarian, dapat mabilisan ka din magswero or maglagay ng cannula sa aso or sa pusa despite na medyo collapse na yung blood vessel, most have that skills, kumbaga. Kahit maliit pa yung aso, maliit pa yung pusa, or collapse na yung ano, at least meron kang skills na ganyan, mapastabilize mo yung animal because of fluid therapy. Next is analgesia. If the animal is in pain, please make sure that you need to give anti-pain medication. But please be careful in cases for cats because most of the NSAIDs or pain medication that is used in dogs might not be helpful in cats. Well, in fact, it might be poisonous to them. Okay. Next is mechanical ventilation, especially for patients with respiratory failure. Parang mayroon kang machine. And then surgical intervention. So for example, mga traumatic cases, let's say napakalaking open wound, kailangan mong iligate and then isuture yung napakalaking sugat para ma-stop yung bleeding. And then if in case for GDV, alam mo na GDV yung case, of course, that would be an emergency surgery. Okay. After done that, we will have to perform monitoring and prognosis. So you need to continuously monitor the vital signs of the animal, have a laboratory test, at least meron kang background, and then kung meron kang ECG and SpO2 na, or yes, no, mga gamit na mag-assess ng ganito mga parameters, then mas better. Reassessment is also vital if the patient itself is responding or not on the treatment, and prognosis, of course, depending on the severity. Please take note that this is an emergency case. So, general advice, basta emergency cases, huwag magbigay ng assurance sa client na wag magbigay ng masyadong positive na assurance sa client or baka ikaw yung balikan if in case the otherwise may happen, in which hindi naman natin talaga ma-predict if the dog or the cat might die during the emergency procedure. Kahit para sa inyo, basic lang. So, let us going to discuss some of the cases or common cases that is happening in a pet practice. Number one here is ARDS or Acute Respiratory Distress Syndrome. So, the potential etiology of that, it can be due to pneumonia, if in case the dog is having a severe pneumonia na, There might be a trauma which affected directly be, for example, ang kaniyang rib cage, like na bangga siya, tapos nagka-fracture mga rib cage resulting for improper respiration, then most likely magka-ARDS din siya. In cases of cats, especially kung hit by car victim yung cats, maybe walang may lalabas ng mga internal organs sa pusa, pero please take note that the diaphragm of cats are very thin, and then that might be predisposing to what we call as diaphragmatic hernia. Ano yung diaphragmatic hernia? For example, yung mga intestines at tiyan ng pusa, imbis na sa abdominal cavity, since nabutas yung diaphragm secondary to potential trauma, example, hit by car, pupunta sila sa respiratory tract. Doon magla-lodge causing respiratory problem. So, isa din yan. Sepsis, if in case there is an existing infection sa aso o pusa nyo, and inhalation injury. So, any breeds, very common sa kanila ito, especially if they have underlying disease. So, clinical manifestation, dyspnea or hirap ng paghinga, cyanosis, wala ng dugo, and then increased respiratory effort. So differential diagnosis, so you can show this as primarily pneumonia, pulmonary edema, or pleural effusion. So pleural effusion, accumulate ng mga fluids sa pleural cavity ng animal. So diagnostic can be done through thoracic radiogram and blood gas analysis. And of course, the prognosis for ARDS is guarded to poor. So, pahirapan talaga ito, and then swerte mo na lang if ma-stabilize mo agad yung patient, but of course it may take a long time. Most likely baka doon na talaga mag-end yung buhay ng animal. But at least we have done our best as veterinarians to make the animal still alive. Okay, so for the treatment, yes, you can have the oxygen therapy just like what is done here in the picture. Yung kulay green dito, actually, it is a tube from the oxygen tank. Mechanical ventilation if in case na, let's say, tulog or nakoma yung animal. So, of course, there is a mechanical ventilation kasi sa kanyang breathing, and anti-inflammatory therapy if in case the cause of acute respiratory distress syndrome might be secondary to intense pain. So, prevention, prevent aspiration, early treatment of infection. Yung kasi problema sa ibang client, kung hindi pa malala yung condition, hindi pa nila dadalhin sa clinic. Tapos kung dadalhin, emergency na. So, yun yung masakit. Next is airway obstruction, or merong something na nag-obstruct sa respiratory tract ng animal. So, it can be due to foreign body, or in cases of brachycephalic breeds, there is what we call as brachycephalic airway syndrome, just like what is presented here in the picture, wherein there is an extension of the soft palate which partially blocks the laryngeal cartilage or the larynx. Of course, once ma-block yung larynx, so it might extend to the not necessarily ma-extend sa trachea, grabe naman. Let's say may partial blockage or full blockage on the larynx, hindi makakapasok yung hangin resulting to this one. So, actually there is a certain surgical correction for this, okay, sa brachycephalic airway syndrome. And then, very common actually sa mga brachycephalic breeds. Clinical manifestations, stridor or labored breathing, and sometimes if grabe na yung blockage, they might be a cyanosis due to the deficiency of oxygen na pumapasok sa respiratory tree. Diagnostic, it can be done via endoscopy or radiographs, and prognosis is variable. Kasi kung malala na yung condition, of course, it might be poor. So, treatment, anything, airway clearance. Kung sa large breed naman, usually yung common cause ng airway obstruction is what we called as accidental ingestion of hard material. For example, mga bola, tennis ball. Usually yun ginagamit kasi for plate. Yung na mga large breed to the point na baka na-lodge sa kanyang lalamunan. It might not, of course, it might not go directly to the trachea, but in some cases, it might happen. But if in case nga sa esophagus yun nag-lodge, even though na esophagus yun, but take note, bola, malaki yan, and then esophagus is associated with trachea or intimately attached with trachea, then there might be also an obstruction. So, prevention is weight management and avoiding choking hazards. Next is cardiogenic shock. So, this is actually a problem, actually mga emergency cases if the animal has an existing heart problem. So, example is congestive heart failure or what we know as cardiomyopathy or others, hindi also ha, others. And then epidemiology, so it is common in older small breed dogs. For example, is the Cavalier King Charles Spaniel. So, clinical manifestation, of course, ng sudden na lang na weakness, tapos merong tachycardia and hypotension. Mabilis yung pump ng heart, pero mahina. Actually, that's the sign of hypotension. Differential diagnosis, so it can be due to hypovolemic shock and sepsis. Of course, diagnostic is echocardiography or ECG. So, prognosis is guarded. Imagine mo na lang, all of a sudden, arrhythmic, nag-arrhythmia yung heart and then all of a sudden, nag-flatline sa ECG. So that is actually a cardiogenic shock. So do not assume that it will be good. It will always be guarded or poor. That is why na treatment is oxygen therapy, diuretics, and inotropic support or positive inotropic support. So prevention is regular cardiac screening, especially if your dog has an existing heart problem. Because the dogs with existing heart problem, they are walking time bombs. All of a sudden baka ma-shock ka na lang na namatay yung aso mo even though na wala siyang underlying diseases na meron sa kanya pero yung heart niya yung may problema. Next is pericardial effusion, so accumulation of fluid in the pericardial sac, just like this one here presented in the picture. And in the ultrasound, so as you can observe, this is a accumulation of fluid here in the pericardial cavity. That is actually a sign or an indication of pericardial effusion. So, ano yung cause ng ganitong disease is it can be by a neoplasia, infection, or trauma. Especially if the animal has a sudden trauma. Actually, hit by car case can also result to pericardial effusion. Not necessarily na too big, but meron akong case actually na nabangga yung aso, wala namang external injury. Pero after 1 minute, natumba at namatay. During my necropsy, I found out that there was an accumulation of blood in the pericardial sac. So that is actually one of the example of pericardial effusion. So not necessarily na fluid na like water, hindi necessarily water. So when I say fluid, it can be plasma or it can be, yes, mixture of plasma and blood. So yun. Very common in golden retrievers and boxers and clinical manifestation is muffled heart sound, weak pulses, and potentially it can collapse. So differential diagnosis, so cardiac tamponade and pleural effusion can be one of the part of the differential diagnosis. And then diagnostic, of course, echocardiography, and then actually pericardiocentesis in order to assess what is being accumulated in the pericardial sac. Is it fluid? Is it blood? Is it both? Depende sa ma-identify nyo. And then prognosis, variable, depends on the cause. And then treatment, of course, pericardiocentesis. Kung pericardiocentesis ka na lang, better kunin mo na lahat as much as possible. And then surgical intervention if needed. And of course, for the prevention, early detection of the cardiac disease because by the name itself, it was a heart problem. So, usually mga heart problems in small animals, actually, they are already existing for a long time. Tapos, magbibigay lang sila ng specific cause or specific emergency cases once malala na yung condition. So, better early detection would be the prefer or the most feasible choice. Next is the status epilepticus or also known as seizures. So actually, there are lots of potential causes. It can be idiopathic, it can be due to toxin, or it can be also due to head trauma. Like for example, nabagok ang ulo sa pader, pwede din yun. Very common in young dogs with epilepsy, especially on the Labradors and Border Collies. So clinical manifestation is continuous seizures and unconsciousness. Merong times na unconscious na sila tapos all of a sudden wake up and then balik naman. So, yun yung potential problem with seizure kasi makakreate siya ng brain damage because of the malfunction of their nervous system. So, differential diagnosis, it can be due to hypoglycemia. Of course, ikaw ba naman, wala kang kain, di ba? Most likely, magkaka-seizure ka din. So, pwede rin hypoglycemia and meningitis if there is an inflammation of the brain or infection. So, you can diagnose it using MRI and cerebrospinal fluid analysis. Please take note that when assessing for cerebrospinal fluid, it is expected that the CSF must be clear. If there is a turbidity or any discoloration on the CSF, then most likely there is an existing infection happening or potential leakage from the entire nervous system. Nga no, bakit nagpunta siya or mayroong something na pumunta sa kanyang cerebrospinal fluid. So, it is a guarded prognosis, especially if the seizure is prolonged, balik-balik lang. And then, of course, for the treatment of choice for status epilepticus in dogs is diazepam. Phenobarbitals are also used, but please take note that you are required to have an S2 license para maka-administer ka ng diazepam. Doc, ano yung S2 license? Actually, that is a license for medical professionals including doctors, dentists, veterinarians na maka-prescribe and maka-administer sila ng or at least maka-prescribe ng mga dangerous or let's say mga ano ba tawag doon? Mga controlled substance, kumbaga. Yes, that is the appropriate word, controlled substance. Yung mga gamot na may potential na maging ingredient na paggawa ng mga illegal drugs yun. So, prevention for that is seizure control in epileptic patients, of course. Yun yung preventive measures. Okay, next is diabetic ketoacidosis. So, it is an uncontrolled diabetes mellitus, very common in middle age and unregulated diabetic dogs and cats. So, clinical manifestation, PUPD, vomiting, and ketotic breath. Actually, when we say ketotic breath, not necessarily na masangsang yung amoy. Sometimes parang fruity odor or parang medyo mabango. But of course, alam natin na mabango siya pero something wrong sa amoy. So, yun yung ketotic breath. And then differential diagnosis, it can be due to pancreatitis or renal failure. And diagnostic, of course, you need to assess the blood glucose, urine ketones, and when this happens, most likely guarded. So, fluid resuscitation and insulin therapy would be a better take. But of course, wag kang magpakapante or magbigay ng confidence sa client mo na masosurvive niya yung procedure. It's because na basta may diabetic ketoacidosis, most likely pahirapan or 50-50 yung chance. Prevention is proper diabetes management. Of course, just like I mentioned, dapat meron siyang gamot para sa diabetes. So, of course, insulin therapy ang prefer dito. Next is ethylene glycol toxicity. So, it is actually known as an antifreeze poisoning. Of course, the causes of this is ingestion of antifreeze. Very common in colder climates, especially by accidental ingestion. Why? It's because when it's anti-freeze, meaning hindi talaga siya mag-freeze into something maka-iced. Now, ang mention dito is common in colder climates. What is happening in colder climates? Di ba merong snow? There are some cases that this anti-freeze are still in liquid form despite merong snow. That is why the animals, when they are thirsty, they drink that substance na unfortunately it might contain or it is most likely an antifreeze na mga ano. Actually, ginagamit itong mga antifreeze or ethylene glycol sa mga sasakyan. ah, Isa sa mga chemicals na para sa maintenance ng sasakyan. So, clinical manifestation is depression, ataxia, and renal failure. And then differential diagnosis, of course, it can be also due to renal toxicity or metabolic acidosis. You need to diagnose it using ethylene glycol test, blood gas analysis. Of course, there's a specific ethylene glycol test, especially if your location or locality is having a predominant case of ethylene glycol poisoning. So, poor without early treatment ang prognosis nito. And treatment is fomepizole or if in case carry ng facilities nyo, dialysis. Fomepizole actually is the treatment for ethylene glycol. And then prevention is proper storage of antifreeze. But sometimes kahit ano natin ka-store, if in case na yung paglagay natin sa sasakyan ng mga antifreeze chemicals for maintenance, and then may potential leakage, most likely it will contaminate the sources of water nearby, and then yan ang mangyayari. Next is heat stroke. Now, it is one of the very common, especially during summer season. Uh, Please take note ha that heat stroke does aside from being caused by excessive heat exposure, kahit take note ha, kahit na may bubong pa yan yung bahay nyo, but if there is lack of ventilation, walang potential entrance or exit ng airway or ng hangin, magkaka-heat stroke din ang animal. Just like what happened on my previous case of heat stroke, nakabubong, meron namang bubong or naka ano naman, madilim naman. In short, summer season actually yun. Pero walang ventilation, sarado lahat. So kahit pa mag-electric fan pa, may electric fan pa sa loob, kung ibubuga naman noon is mainit na hangin, then magkaka-heat stroke din ang animal. Actually, yung case ko, fortunately, nabuhay yun or nakasurvive yung aso. So, epidemiology common in brachycephalic breeds. Actually, in this case, I was showing a large breed, but on my case, actually, it was a brachycephalic breed. So, clinical manifestation is hyperthermia, also collapse, and then DIC or disseminated intravascular coagulation. So, for the differential diagnosis, it can be also due to sepsis or toxin in exposure. So, diagnostics, so you can have the CBC and coagulation profile, of course, to assess if there is a presence of DIC. But however, the prognosis here is guarded to poor if untreated. Okay? So, for the treatment, of course, if the animal is having a hyperthermia, then cooling. Dapat merong ice gel sa or any source of cooling material sa inyong clinic, especially if you are dealing most likely with heat stroke. And sometimes you need also to perform fluid therapy. And yes, the calcium borogluconate or especially the calcium component of the calcium borogluconate, pwede kayong magbigay intramuscular ha, tapos bagalan nyo, wag nyo isa din. Babagalan na pag-administer ng CBG. Tapos, anong tawag dito? Kasi makaka-help siya pag control ng temperature or pagbaba ng temperature ng animal. Okay. So, yun. And then, prevention, of course, avoid heat exposure para hindi na heat stroke yung animal din. Next is severe trauma or also known as or commonly caused by hit by car injuries but sometimes also other ng mga causes, let's say pinalo, so pwede din yon or accidental na merong nakatama sa kanya na hindi naman talaga sinasadya, then pwede din yon. So high impact trauma would be the most common cause. So epidemiology, common in free roaming animals. So usually mga strays yung mga biktima nito. Clinical manifestation, of course, there might be a presence of fractures if grabe yung ano, and then hemorrhages. So just like here presented the picture and shock. Yung iba, hindi na talaga makakasurvive dito. Pero if makasurvive man, ingat-ingat din because that animal itself might be in intense pain. Baka makagat pa kayo. Differential diagnosis, of course, internal bleeding and then organ rupture. For diagnostics, of course, you need to have radiographs and ultrasound. But please take note ha, stabilize first the animal. Yun yung ano, before ka mag-perform ng any other problem. Or kung kailangan talaga, then do it as soon as possible. So prognosis variable, of course, kasi if in case after by hit by car, there are lesser chances naman na makakasurvive ang animal. But if in case medyo nakailag yung animal, then still guarded pa rin. So, treatment is stabilization or surgery, and then prevention, proper pet containment. As much as possible, i-leash yung animals nyo or i-keep inside sa inyong bahay. So, yun yung most probable na suggestion dito. And then, when you are treating with hit by car injuries, especially if the animal is in a state of intense pain, wag mo muna, wag mong pilitin na i-rescue agad. Baka makagat ka. Of course, for the sake of your welfare. And also, one of the best initial remedy na maibibigay mo sa mga ganitong victims is total rest. Huwag masyadong igalaw yung animal. Okay? Huwag masyadong igalaw yung animal and then if in case na parang okay na, medyo receptive na, then that's the time that you are going to perform your initial or mga procedures mo on how to deal with such cases. Next is anaphylaxis. Happy dog here got stung by a bee. These are most likely a allergic reaction to insect stings or potentially from medications na hindi naman natin alam na allergic siya. Actually, there are some cases that even the 5-in-1 vaccines can cause allergy to animals. Hindi not necessarily the whole all brands, but yung iba is brand specific. Kasi baka merong special component yung isang brand. That is why na naging allergic yung animal. So, pwede yon. And then, insect stings, sometimes it can be localized just like this one. Sa mukha lang yung problem. Most likely, kumain ito na bubuyog. That is why naging ganito yung itsura. And then, but if in case due to medication, most likely it will be systemic. So, yes, just like this what happened in the cat. It can occur at any breed, at any age. Clinical manifestation, facial swelling, or sometimes hypotension or collapse if in case the effect of anaphylaxis is systemic. Yun kasi yung delikado for anaphylaxis or allergic reaction. If in case localized lang, parang manageable. But if in case na naging systemic siya, doon yung bigger problem. Kasi if too late siya ma-present, most likely kahit alam natin yung medication or yung gamot, baka maging too late natin. So, differential diagnosis can be due to shock or respiratory distress. So, diagnostic is based on the clinical signs and response to therapy. So, good with rapid treatment ang prognosis niya. Just like I mentioned, kung too late na i-present, I don't know if makaya pa. But if in case, after ng pag-show ng initial signs, binalik agad sa pet clinic or dinala agad sa pet clinic tapos pinakita sa vet, most likely magkakaano din. For treatments, if in case na parang wala ng pulse yung heart, so you can administer epinephrine, but you can also give corticosteroids, for example, dexamethasone, prednisone, and also mga antihistamines. You can also use that, for example, cetirizine, diphenhydramine, and for example, during mga cases na umalis na yung client, kasama yung aso, tapos malayo yung bahay nila or yung location nila, and then anong tawag doon? Nag-chat sa inyo, Doc, nagbaga-baga yung mukha ni blah 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 after pagbigay ng gamot. Sige ma'am, gawin natin ito, bigyan mo ng cetirizine. Please take note of the dosage rate of cetirizine ha. 1 milligram per kilogram. So for if in case na 5 kilogram yung aso, then much better na bigyan mo na lang ng ng half tablet kahit maliit pa yan. So, ganon. Sa cetirizine, sa diphenhydramine, actually, mayroon ding human labeled. So, pwede din yon. Meron din actually injectable na diphenhydramine. And for the prevention, avoid known allergens. So if you observe that the certain your dogs or your pets is, or let's say alam mo ang history ng pet ng client mo is allergic to something, then better not use it again. Or better not to treat using that medication again. Yun yung ano. And next is what we call as toad poisoning, very common here in the Philippines. Actually, it is due to the toxic secretions from Rhinella marina or also known as cane toad. Very common actually sa Philippines, mga palaka na kinakain din ng mga Pinoy. And Incilus alvarius or Colorado fever toad containing bufotoxin. So actually, in this part near sa eyes or sa likod ng mata, there is actually a gland there that secretes a milky substance. That is actually the bufotoxin. Actually, kung once ma-ingest din yan ng tao, magkakaroon poisoning din ng mga tao. And please take note ha that Rhinella marina is also known before as Bufo marinus. Actually, hindi ko lang na-italicize pero yes, that is actually previously known as Bufo marinus. So, can affect at any breed. Walang pili. So, common in tropical and subtropical areas. Of course, kasi doon may maraming palaka. And then, clinical manifestation, mag-uuna yan sa hypersalivation, vomiting, arrhythmias. So, meron talagang palpitation sa heart. And then, seizures, worst case scenario, sudden death. If in case marami talagang na-ingest. Ang ano dito, aside from this one, na clinical manifestation, yung usually makikita mo sa aso or sa pusa na nagka-toad poisoning, but of course, common ito sa aso, is intense pain. Like kahit nakabigay ka na ng treatment, in pain pa rin yung animal. So, yun yung parang medyo, ano siya, kung saan pa medyo stressful sa veterinarian at sa client kasi nabigay mo na lahat ng treatment for toad poisoning, sumisigaw pa rin yung aso sa sakit. So, wala kang magagawa. Waiting game talaga ito. Differential diagnosis, so it can be due to organophosphate toxicity, hypoglycemia, or heat stroke. Of course, diagnostic history of exposure, clinical signs, and ECG for arrhythmias. So, ito yung ano. And then prognosis, growth. Actually, yung difference ng ano ha, in terms of pag-diagnose. Ang difference between the OP poisoning and toad poisoning is, what do you call this? Yung pain na associated during hypersalivation and other na mga typical poisoning case na mga signs. So, good with rapid treatment, but poor if cardiac arrest occurs. So, just like what is happening here. Treatment, oral decontamination. Please give the animal with activated charcoal. And then anti-arrhythmics. Actually, based on some books, pwede kang gumamit ng atropine, syempre to counteract hypersalivation. But please take note that, anong tawag dito, sometimes atropine is not enough for cold poisoning. Yung ginagamit na anti-arrhythmic based on my experience is lidocaine. Ina-IM ba, Doc? No. Because if i-IM mo yung lidocaine, that is a local anesthesia, di ba? So, lidocaine, when you give it IV using the standard dosage rate, pwede siyang maging anti-arrhythmic. Because, as we all know, lidocaine is known for, as known as an anti-arrhythmic drug also. IV fluids, of course, to cleanse the body and then seizure control. And for the prevention, supervise pet outdoors and avoid toad contact. As much as possible, secure also your surroundings if gumagala yung mga aso nyo against the toads. Okay, so I guess that would be all for this topic. I know there are still lots of emergency diseases or emergency cases, but assignment na lang yon. And if you have question, I would suggest that you will put it in the comment section in this channel. And for more details, you can also subscribe to this channel. And please, thank you so much. And let's call it a day.